hate because my music is
Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. If you want it, come and get some. Because we love wisdom. Because we love wisdom.
People in every part of the globe are perishing because the judgment is low. From children to teens to elderly folks, this epidemic is incredibly bold. Wisdom is needed to see through the fog. Without it, we'll stumble and see to the long. You're jumping without something to break and fall if you choose to ignore it's a beckoning call. The only people who will lose the war are those who don't know who they're fighting for. You are the only one who can decide your fate. Don't waste your life when you can live inside of grace. If we turn to God and behold His shining face, we will gain traction and run in this human race.
Hey, what's going on? JC Johnson here for The Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And on today's episode, we are discussing the wisdom of agapism. We'll be back.
God is the beginning of wisdom. If you want it, come and get some. Because we love wisdom. Because we love wisdom. Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. If you want it, come and get some. Because we love wisdom. Because we love wisdom.
All right, welcome back. You are listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And I'm your host, JC Johnson. And on today's episode, we are going to be discussing the wisdom of agapism. And I'm going to get into that in a second, just to explain what that means, just in case you're wondering. On the last episode, the last couple episodes, we discussed agapism. It's a little bit different from, it almost sounds like agapism, but agapism. We discussed anthropomorphism as well the last couple episodes, and when we were discussing anthropomorphism, basically what that is the interpretation of non-human things or events in terms of human characteristics. And so basically we were looking at how people ascribe human characteristics to inanimate objects, and we see that all the time, like with cartoons. People will make cartoons where the animals can talk, stuff like that, stuff that's not normal, stuff that wouldn't normally happen in a real life situation. But we discussed how that can actually be positive. There were several reasons for that. We can't get into all that today, but if you missed that episode and you want to hear it back, you can always catch past episodes on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere where podcasts can be downloaded. And if you have an Alexa device, like an Echo or anything like that from Amazon, you can just say, Alexa, play For the Love of Wisdom, and you'll be able to actually hear the show that way, and you can do it hands-free. So also last time, a few shows back, there was a song that was played. It's from Johnsonian Theory, called Three Isms Trilogy, and that's available also on Spotify or Apple Music if you want to hear it. Also, new music from Vital MC, which you can hear in the theme song at the beginning of the show. That's Vital MC, and for those of you that don't know, that's actually me. And I have a new song as well with Sean the Rebel, and that's also available for download on Apple Music or iTunes, Spotify, Deezer, pretty much all those places. It's called Forever Praise. So you can definitely look out for any of those things if you want to stay more on top of what's going on. Other things that were released recently by One Plan Media. We have a book. It's called The 40-Day Fire, Burning Away All That Does Not Resemble Your Destiny. That's available for download everywhere, ebook format, paperback, hardback, any kind of format. And if you like listening to audiobooks, you can actually download that audiobook for free right now through Audible. All you have to do is just put in the web address. Web address is audibletrial.com/lovewisdom. Okay, and then you'll be able to download that audiobook for free. Another one that you can get for free as well is called Just Do It, a 10-day mental detox. That is also available through Audible for free. And again, to get that, all you have to do is just type in audibletrial.com/lovewisdom. Okay, so right now we're going to go ahead and get into agapism. All right, and agapism is simple. If you're familiar at all with the Greek word agape, then you'll see that this is where that comes from. And basically what agapism is, it is according to this study here from moralphilosophy.info, it speaks about it and says that again, it comes from the Greek word agape, meaning love, and it takes very seriously the great commandment of Mark 12:30-31. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. So it's something that's inspired by that Greek word for love that's used in the Bible. And it says that all of ethics, according to agapism, is summarized in this commandment. And agapism is a deontological system of ethics consisting of one simple command. In every situation, do the loving thing, whatever that may be. So we're going to spend some time discussing that today so that we can, try to figure that, understand that, have a greater interpretation of why it's so important to love at all times. Love is, it really should be, love really should be the motivation for everything that we do. Because when we deal with people, when we talk to people, when we make decisions, we could be motivated by love for self only, right? Or even greed. It may not even really be love. Truly, it may just be greed. You might just be thinking about only doing something that's going to seemingly benefit you, but it may be something that's harmful to other people. And people make those decisions all the time to do something like that. But love is the opposite of that. Love says it's not just about what I'm getting out of it. It's also what the other person is getting out of it. And if I'm making a decision to do something that's harmful or destructive to another person, then that's not showing love. And it's really important, I think, to have that understanding, to know that all of our decisions affect other people, and we want what we do to affect people in a positive way. We don't want to hurt others because we're just looking out for number one, right? So that's something that we're gonna really get into today. I think that this is a good topic, something that you'll appreciate. And as always, as you can tell, all the recent show titles have the same suffix. They all end with ISM or ism. During the first season of the show, all of the shows ended with the suffix of ITY. So, we talked about the wisdom of, prosperity. We talked about the wisdom of ability and paternity and all these other ITY words, right? And so that, for this season, we're with all the episodes, each of them end with the ISM. And of course, if you're just, tuning in, you're new to the show, this is a show on philosophy, not philosophy in a stuffy way or, something that you would only hear during a college lecture. But, we try to do it in a way where, we simplify it, just take it down to the bare minimum. This is not meant to be super deep, but more so just something just to get our minds thinking about something that we may not have otherwise thought about. If you want to join the conversation, or you want to just stay up with me and what's going on with this podcast, and through One Plan Media LLC, which produces this radio broadcast and the podcast, you can always find me on Instagram. The handle is at One Plan Media, and that's one spelled out ONE Plan Media. The same thing on Twitter and Facebook, pretty much everywhere. Just all you have to do is just type in that @ One Plan Media, and we'll be able to connect from there. Definitely would love to hear from you about what you think about the topic on today's show, or any of the past episodes as well, through the Facebook page, One Plan Media. All the past episodes are automatically sent over to there when the podcast version of it is posted. So right now we're live every Thursday from 4 to 6 on North Coast Underground. But if you're not able to hear it live, you can always catch the podcast version, right? And that's usually available within the week after the podcast is aired. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And we are going to be going to a break soon, so I definitely appreciate you for tuning in today as we're discussing the wisdom of agapism, and hopefully after the break we'll be able to learn a little bit more about it, why this is important, and hopefully you'll be able to take something away from it. But again, I'm JC Johnson for the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets, and you're listening on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we are back. You're listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets, and I'm so glad you can hang out with me today. I'm your host, JC Johnson, and we are live on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. On today's episode, we're discussing the wisdom of agapism, and before the break, we did talk a little bit about it. We looked at some information that was provided to us by moralphilosophy.info, and they gave a pretty good description of what agapism is, and it is something that is inspired by the word agape. That's where agapism comes from, and agape it basically means love. It comes from the Greek word agape, and the thing about the Greek language, just like with a lot of languages, but especially in Greek, there's several different words for love. Whereas in English, we'll use the same word for everything. We can say, I love my parents, or you can say I love pizza, right? You could say, I love ice cream, or you can say I love my girlfriend. There's a lot of different ways that we would use the same word, whereas in Greek they had a different word for every single meaning. So there was a word for love that you would describe a friend. Like if you say I love my friend, you would use a particular word. Or if you were to say, I love my wife, then you would use a particular word. Or if you're saying, I love going ice skating, you would use a different word. You wouldn't use the same one. So it's just a way that they had to distinguish it, just to make things much more specific. But agape, that talks about not a friendship love, or just a love of something like you really enjoy something, but it's talking about more of a sacrificial type of love, the type of love where you're loving another person unconditionally, right? So agape, I would say, out of all the different types of love that there are, whether it's friendship love or the type of love that you have for your favorite football team, or the type of love that you have for your sweater or something like that, it's on a much higher scale when you talk about agape type of love. And there's an article here that I think is pretty good, and it's called The Virtue Ethic and Agapism. And I think that this one is pretty cool. It was actually a teaching that was prepared by Dr. Ronald Nash, and it was for students at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary. And this is what he had to say. He pretty much gave us some bullet points here of the importance of agapism, what it is and what it's not. So he clears up a couple of misconceptions, and this is what he had to say. And he first starts out by talking about Plato and Aristotle, who are two well-known ancient philosophers, and it says Plato and Aristotle emphasize moral virtues. Agapism teaches that love should be the sole ultimate value and that all other values are derived from it. Okay, so what is he saying? That, you know, when it comes to everything that you do in life, he's saying that everything that, according to this principle, everything that you do in life should be an overflow of the love and the unconditional love that you have for humanity, right? So when you love another person truly, right, your actions are going to reflect that. And so there's two different types of agapism, according to Dr. Nash. The first one, he's talking about act agapism, and he describes act agapism as something where love is the guiding principle, but it's something where it's relative. It's not absolute. And by that I mean that this type of love is something that is depending upon the situation. So there's something in philosophy called situational ethics. And basically situational ethics is when you say, all right, in this situation, you know, for example, most people would agree that murder is wrong, you know, so you shouldn't murder people. So if, let's just say, you're standing in line somewhere, maybe you're standing in line at the movies and you're about to go in, and somebody accidentally bumps into you as you're standing in line, and they accidentally knock you to the floor. Now, you know that this person didn't really mean to do that, but because you're embarrassed and because, you know, this person made you look bad, maybe in front of your date or whatever, and now you're feeling embarrassed, so you decide to pull out a gun and shoot this person because you feel that they disrespected you or whatever. There's a difference between that and, let's say you're in a situation where you're out with your family. Let's say you have your kids and somebody runs up and tries to snatch your kids from you. And in order to protect your children, you end up murdering somebody in the process. You know, in both cases, somebody died. But the difference in those two circumstances is that in one case, somebody killed somebody out of their own selfishness, out of their own love for self, but lack of love for somebody else. You know, they killed because they were embarrassed. Whereas in the second scenario, somebody killed, but it was in order to protect someone else. You know, because they loved someone, they were motivated by that. And so situational ethics pretty much gets into how it's not always what you do, but why you do it. And, you know, this can present some issues sometimes. Some people will say, you know, no matter what, right is right, wrong is wrong. You know, a person should never be killed. That should never be justified. Even if somebody breaks into your house and holds a gun to your head, they say, well, you should just let them kill you. But if you just let somebody kill you, then, I mean, you're not gonna live to tell about it. Now, if you have the opportunity to stop them without killing them, then you should. Maybe you can stab them in the leg, or, you know, try to wrestle them down to the floor and, you know, tie up their hands with something or whatever. You know, do whatever you can. But at the end of the day, it's not always a guarantee, because somebody may be truly coming at you. So you have to make a decision in a case like that. So again, these topics they're not agreed upon by everyone. And that's why some states are stand your ground states and some are not. Because some people think, hey, if somebody is trying to hurt you or someone breaks into your house, you should be able to attack them. Whereas other people would say it's still not right regardless. But what Dr. Nash though is trying to say is that there are different types of agapism, and the first one is act agapism, which is more situational, because he says here that the notion of love is ambiguous. It doesn't account for human depravity, and because of that, love needs guidance. So he's saying that really, in order for love to be true, there has to be some sort of principles or rules. And so that brings him to the second type of agapism, which is rule agapism. And in rule agapism, it says that it functions within a set of rules, and love provides the justification for the rules. So in this circumstance, the rules wouldn't change. They would be consistent. And now, as far as the situational ethics examples I gave before, some of them may be, considered a little bit extreme, but I said that just to make a point that sometimes people will justify an action because of motive. But more on that after this. I'm JC Johnson, and you're listening on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you.
Because we love wisdom. Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. If you want it, come and get some.